biggest voices in sport on the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Like Tennis Unfiltered with me, James Gray of the iPaper. I'll be joined every day during the Australian Open by fellow tennis journalist George Belshaw and our resident two-time Grand Slam winning tennis coach Calvin Beckman. Stick with us for daily updates on all the action from Melbourne. That's every tiebreak, tantrum and triumph, so you don't have to stay up all night to watch them. And unlike the Brits, we'll be with you all the way to the final. You won't miss any of the controversy, and we won't pull any punches. Search Tennis Unfiltered wherever you get your podcasts.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Welcome to No Question About That. This is the Tactics Show, and we're going to be talking about Athletic Bilbao 4, Manchester United 0. No, hopefully not. I'm with Daniel and Dharnish. How are you doing?
Dharnish has got his watching United face on.
Yeah.
Good before you open on such a morbid note.
I know. I'm half joking, but I did spend quite a bit of time doing research on this one, because I'm not that familiar with Athletic Bilbao, and I thought I'd look into how they're playing and what they look like and the tactics and stuff like that. And I got a bit worried about just how well set up they are by Valverde. That shouldn't be a surprise. He's an excellent coach. And they've got a really good home record. All right. So let's set it up. We'll talk about their system, attack, defense, in possession, out of possession, all the usual stuff on this one. So basically a 4-2-3-1, although I don't know. There feels like an awful lot of flexibility in the Bilbao system. They're very, very compact defensively, explosive in the attacking phase of play. Let's talk about, maybe we can set this up with Valverde, Dharnish. I mean, you've spent a lot of time in Spain. Indeed, lived there for a while, as we discussed on the previous pod. So Valverde, former Barca coach, of course, they fired him because he only won the league standards and all that. But this is not a side that necessarily plays like Barcelona tiki-taka. What do you make of them?
No, not really. It's half tiki-taka, maybe with quite explosive directness. And a lot of that comes, I think, from a lot of that comes from the Williams brothers, I would say. Or a lot of that comes from, I can't pronounce his name right. Honestly, I've been trying to get his name right all week. He's the guy, he's injured now, but he might not make it. Turkish fella. What's his name?
Sunset.
That's it. When the sun sets. When the sun sets. That's his name. But he plays as a cam. He plays as a cam or he plays as a striker. But it's not necessarily tiki-taka that worries me about this team. It's very much, they can be explosive, like you said, and it comes from the Williams brothers, or it comes from Sunset, or I think sometimes one of the CDMs makes sort of a Lampard run. That's one trademark that I've seen a lot in the clips. One of the CDMs always comes in really late at the back post or in the penalty area. And a big worry for me is they remind me a little bit of Guardiola's team, I think 2 or 3 seasons ago. Obviously, that team was a lot more better in that it's very much like they will control it at the back, but they can go from 0 to 60 very quickly in sort of the middle of the pitch, and then all of a sudden they're at you. Yeah. And they will, all of a sudden, maybe the fullback overlaps and maybe Inaki Williams overlaps. The Williams brothers as well. I just want to talk about them because they'll be on everybody's lips just before this game. One is obviously everyone saw Nico in the Euros and we saw him dancing and we saw him take on every fullback that he could. The other one is more so, he's more of a smarter striker. Or winger. He's like a Firmino striker where you're like, he's really good, but I don't really know why. And he exposes gaps a lot. He is smart in the way that he pins a defender. He's smart in the way that he makes runs in behind. He's more of a half space boy, as Karl Anke has coined the term. But those two are the main ones. Yeah. The other thing that really worries me in the film whilst watching them is their pressing traps. Man United, a team where I think the problem has been, I think since Amram has come in, this is how you build up. This is how you build up. This is how you build up. And Man United every week are going, we don't know how to build up this way. We don't know how to build up this way. This is quite shit. Case in point, the last goal they conceded.
On the build-up, do you not think that the build-up's got better in recent weeks? It's now more the problem is sort of the final pass and the fucking disgraceful finishing.
A little bit, although we conceded against Bournemouth with the classic Manchester United failure, yeah?
I'd largely agree that the build-up's gone better. But like Ed said, we just did concede against Bournemouth with somebody losing the ball in defence. It gets worse when you realise that this Bilbao team they're a very smart pressing team. They set pressing traps up. They do something where they let the weakest defender in build-up have the ball. Remember Leeds United, I think I don't remember the manager, maybe Jesse Marsh. They did this against Man United, I think 2-3 seasons ago, where they let Rafael Varane have the ball. And they were like, you're not going to pass it out, so we won't press you. We'll just let you have that. Even if we have gotten better in build-up, we haven't gotten better in build-up enough to beat pressing traps of Bilbao's, I think. Even though, again, like Daniel said, yeah, it's a good point that in Europe, for some reason, we seem to build it out very well. I just worry against this Bilbao team that press you quite well.
I'm thinking about the conversation where they're thinking, which of these is the pressing trigger? And you're like, no, it's him. No, it's him. No, it's him. It's all of them.
Yeah. No, I agree with Dharnish in terms of like what I've seen Athletic. They do that very well. They are very aggressive. Their attacking will definitely be muted with Sanset's injury. I think he's massively, he's basically doubled his XG this season. He's a very good smart half spaces player and finisher. Very, very good. He's the guy who kind of fills the forward spaces when one of the Iñaki brothers are not doing it. One of the things I'd say about them, it's kind of interesting. I mean, they're just brilliant defensively because they're so compact, right? So if they don't get you with the pressing trap, they are very, very compact. In the defensive line, they do the old Arsenal thing. Like the four of them just stay really close together and they're not pushing their fullbacks up in the way that you would expect a Barcelona tiki-taka side to do. They just don't do it at all. And partly because their fullbacks are like 35 years old, I think, which you'd think would be an opportunity for United, but really it's not because they're just so compact all the time. The four of them will just stay like really close together and really defensively solid, which makes you wonder, like, where are the options for United against this team to score goals? Because they don't concede very many. They don't score many either, despite having the Williams brothers in there. Two brilliant players who just not big scorers, really. This is why I started this going, we're going to get screwed. I don't actually believe that Athletic will beat us 4-0, but you look at the setups and you think, well, they're very good at creating chances with high turnovers. They're very solid defensively. They are very, very explosive in exploiting space behind, say, a wing back that's pushed up. And these are all areas in which you'd expect Athletic to profit, especially at home where they have an amazing record.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a tactical point, but there is every chance that United forget whatever the plan is in the first 10 minutes in the maelstrom of the moment. I mean, we can all, I mean, much better United teams than that, the Pits have done that. And could definitely see that happening. So the question, I think, is, assuming Nico Williams is fit.
He came on against Las Palmas, so yeah, I think he is, yeah.
I think he was rested.
Do we try and stop him getting the ball? Or do we trust whoever it is to defend one-on-one against him?
Yeah, it'll be Mazraoui, I imagine. I mean, his take-on rate is brilliant, isn't it? He's a brilliant dribbler, as we saw in the Euros, and so he'll beat his man. He actually scored a couple of brilliant goals in the Euros as well. That's not necessarily his strength. He hasn't been scoring an awful lot. And part of it, I think, is that his danger with taking players on leaves the opposition to kind of double up, and I imagine we will with the right centre-back and probably Lenny Yoro and Mazraoui. But that leaves spaces for Sanset, who's injured, thankfully, and Iñaki Williams, who makes those out-to-in runs all the time and causes a lot of problems there. So, like, how do we, Dharnish, your thoughts on how we cause them more problems? I was thinking that Bruno switch of play would be one that's kind of interesting there, because they're so narrow, they do leave space on the opposite side a lot.
Yeah, I want to touch upon the fact that they really don't concede many goals at all. They've conceded 26 in their last, I think, 30. It's like 0.87 goals.
Yeah. Best defensive record in La Liga.
Yeah. Granted, this is against Spanish attacks, but I think we will probably have the majority of the ball for at least the game against Old Trafford and some spells for the game against the Bilbao away. So yeah, it will be very much pick the lock by using Amorim's system, patiently move the ball from side to side, wait for the gaps to open wide, wait for the gaps to open in the half space, use a quick switch, like you said, get them all over to one side if they press you, because it's weird, like you said, they're narrow, but they do press. They do set pressing traps. So we'll have to rely upon the fact that suck them into a corner, like they have done quite well in the Europa League, Man United. Suck them into a corner, whether it's wide or with a midfielder inside, and quickly switch the ball, like you said. We're going to have to rely on basically Amorim's system working and building out from the back and using their press against them. And then at the same time, this isn't really tactical, but honestly, I watched the game against Roma. They're obsessed with this idea of getting to the final because it's in their own stadium. Like, they're obsessed with it. The level of like emotion against Roma, even when they were down to 10 men, Roma, and they were 3-1 up, the nerves that were jangling when like Roma were on the edge of the penalty area or about to shoot, even they were 3-1 up. They were literally obsessed with getting to the final and playing it in their own stadium.
Mm. Well, I guess that is the other side of us crumbling under the pressure, is them crumbling under the pressure, which is not insignificant. And in terms of how United might go about scoring, in some ways it almost doesn't matter, in that Bruno Fernandes can find a way to goal against any team in any situation. And that has more or less been our tactic for the last 5 years, pretty much since signing him. And then other than that, it is difficult because we don't have any goal scorers. I mean, you're talking, it reminds me of KP told me once that in the England squad meeting before they played South Africa, they got onto Jack Callis and they were like, how are we going to get him out? And they decided that he was a run-out risk early in his innings. That was the best they could come up with.
That was the best they could come up with, yeah.
And so saying something like set pieces feels like a little bit like that. But we have got better at them recently. Maguire is in quite good form when it comes to attacking them. And the difference we found in these games, and even in the Lyon game, is a physical one where we pretty much, in the end, outlasted Lyon. And I think that we will have the physical advantage in this game too, because what we're really going to be trying to do is what the system does. When it's these two midfield players, it's going to be tomorrow, Casemiro and Ugarte, really. We're trying to block up the middle and force teams to go around the sides of us. And it's all very well if Nico Williams beats Mazraoui, and Mazraoui's a good defender, but if Nico Williams beats him, then if he's still on the touchline, then because there's going to be another centre-back there, and there's going to be two others in front of those three centre-backs as well. So although the defenders sort of aren't individually good enough, or with the goalkeeper to keep very many clean sheets, the way that they're able to blanket opposing attacks has improved a little bit in the last bit of time. And I feel like we'll stop. They're sort of going to be doing that to us as well with a different formation, but they too are pretty much trying to block up the pitch. And then the question is, well, how do we get around them? And I guess one way is we got to hope that Garnacho passes to Dorgu. That'd be one, because that will get us around the outside. And other than that, I think it's about bodies in the box, really, because when the other team are blocking up the penalty box, you can't really score. It's very hard to score from outside the box, and it's very hard to score from cutbacks or from crosses without proper contingent.
No question about that. It's brought to you in association with NordVPN. VPN stands for Virtual Private Network, and it secures your connection, protecting your personal information and any online activity, especially in insecure environments like public Wi-Fi. VPN also enables your phone or laptop to switch its virtual location to another country, which is awesome if you're traveling abroad and want to access your favorite content. Long-time listeners will know I spent an awful lot of time on the road for the last 20 years in different places, from Tokyo to Old Trafford and New York to the Northern Quarter. The VPN has been extremely useful in watching the games and recording in places where it's hard to do so. True story, I once racked up a huge phone bill while watching a United game when I was traveling in Shanghai. It's on my work phone. I blamed it on calls. It wasn't really, but I couldn't have watched the United game without the VPN. If you want to try NordVPN for yourself, we have a special offer at nordvpn.com/NQAT. You'll get 4 extra months on a 2-year plan. It's the best discount available, about the price of a coffee per month. There's no risk with a 30-day money-back guarantee, and the link is also in the podcast show notes. Many thanks.
I think that is putting it in the mixer. I mean, it sounds fucking absurd. Like, yeah, we're calling this a tactics pod, and this is what I'm coming up with. But I do think that balls in the box and bodies in the box and a physical advantage will probably be our most likely route to goal.
There is an interesting thing in which Athletic build up down the left a lot, right? They're not really a central build-up side. They'll look for Nico Williams, and then Iñaki will make that run into the centre to make the extra man there. But on the opposite side of the pitch, DeMarcos is basically the captain, right? If he plays, I do think he's a weak spot with Garnacho's running, right? So if Dorgu and Garnacho can overload that side of the pitch, there are opportunities there. But you're right in that it will take people actually getting into the box, which you would not expect Ugarte and Casemiro to do very much, to actually profit from that kind of classic Amorim move. Like, so what is it? Is it Bruno coming in from the other side makes the extra man in that scenario? Will Rasmus Højlund move enough to be a target? He doesn't very often. These are problems, right? It's like, I mean, he did score at the weekend and he made a lot about it. He scored, he did his big celebration, then he whipped his phone out of his shorts and tweeted about it straight away, or Instagrammed about it instantly, almost before he got off the pitch. But I guess he needed it, as he said.
Yeah, I mean, good for him, really. I mean, yeah, it was anything that makes him feel good is good for me.
Yeah. Shoot him up with some heroin beforehand, whatever will do it.
Wow.
But
I mean, I was thinking similar things, but I guess like one of the other vices. I had this picture of him now, in the dressing room. Yeah, well, anyway. Is Rasmus Højlund masturbating enough? That is ultimately what the tactic that we're discussing here.
There we go.
3 times a day, fellas. Three times a day. That'll keep him sharp. Yeah. No, I do worry because you look at all the scenarios from where United might score goals, and it's a very narrow window of types of goals that we're likely to score against Athletic. Set pieces are definitely one. They're not a big team. And then on the defensive side of things, their movement and the rotation of their 3 or 4 forwards is like really dynamic. And you do worry about like the obsession with Nico Williams dragging players across, and then Iñaki will be the danger man. And that will cause United a lot of problems. So, but we have done in big games away from home, I think Arsenal, Liverpool, City, done pretty well. When we need to defend and box defend, done pretty well. There's just no Matthijs de Ligt. And that will cause United a little bit of problems. I mean, he's not the most rounded defender, but he does the box defending really well.
I mean, the thing is, ultimately, is Harrance is also not a bad box defender, and
he's good. Yeah.
That's the replacement.
Yeah.
So who do we think who are the other centre backs going to be? Yoro on one side, and then
Shaw on the other,
Shaw on the left. Yeah, I mean,
I think so. If he's fit enough, because is he ready to play another 90 minutes? Yeah,
I think he's going to have to be.
He's going to have to. Yeah,
I don't know. I think
what you get for Shaw is you get the ball carrying as well. Go on, Dharnish.
I think the 90 minutes against Bournemouth was kind of strange. And the whole conjecture around it was strange, and it's kind of been a small problem that I don't think anyone shouted about enough, but he looked really rusty against Lyon. They asked Amorim about the game after, and he said, well, I was busy substituting everybody else. I kind of forgot that he played 90 minutes because he subbed everybody off. I think he subbed everyone else off. Mainu came off, Fernandes came off. So he's ended up playing 90 minutes, and I don't know. I don't think I trust him with such little minutes under his belt to sort of play the way Man United have in certain games where it gets very chaotic. He's played in chaotic situations before, and he's been fine in them. Think back to that Ten Hag second season where he played some games. It's just, I don't know. I just get really angsty about Luke Shaw because I know how good he is. It's just, if he keeps getting injured, I don't You know what I'm saying? I just picture more chaos happening again in the semi-final. It's never been straightforward with United this season.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if we score 5 against them, honestly. They're too tight defensively for it to be that kind of chaos. But Luke Shaw's problem is he takes a lot of games to work off the ring rust, doesn't he? And he's quite error-prone in those games.
The rubber ring rust. Work off the rubber ring. I mean, yeah, he did look a bit hefty the other day, I thought. But playing at left centre-back, there's just not that much running to do.
Yeah.
And I think there's a strong chance he's the best left centre-back in the club.
Yeah. I mean, I can't see a way round. There's no other options other than Yoro Maguire and
well, there is.
There's Mazraoui.
There's Mazraoui, and then you have to play Harry Amas, and that just feels very, very unlikely.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd worry about Amas's, because we haven't really seen Amas tested in those defensive situations, right? Is he smart enough to track his runner? I mean, not that I think Dorgu is showing signs of being the most intelligent footballer we've ever seen, but those out-to-in runs, which are a classic Bilbao trait, the left-sided centre-back and the left wing-back have to track them. I do worry about Nico Williams dragging everyone across and Iñaki scoring. I'm going to put a bet on that. We were just talking before we came on air about my loathing of betting, but I think that will be a very good chance of that happening. How do we change the game if it's not going right? I mean, our options off the bench are going to be Mainu, you'd expect. It's not really a small spaces game, this one. I don't think it might be more like that at Old Trafford. Mount, who is doing a very good job of missing the target every time he comes on.
But he's getting opportunities, in fairness to Mount.
But he's getting opportunity, and he always will, because he gets in the right spaces. He's just not that good a finisher, career length. There aren't any forward options off the bench at all, really. No Chidiaobi, no Xerxes. Who else are we going to have?
God.
That's it, right?
That is literally it.
Are we going to have any strikers on the bench?
I would always have a striker on the bench, but I guess in this particular game, unless we're really getting battered, we're almost like, if we're 1-0 up, if we're a goal down, we're not probably going to be going like Billy O to pursue another goal by chucking on someone like Ethan Wheatley or whoever.
Yeah. No, he I think he's on the B list, Wheatley, so he might be in the squad. He scored a couple for the Stiffs the other day, didn't he? He had a very bad loan spell at Walsall. He just didn't. He was 4 months there and didn't get a game, basically, but he might be an option off the bench. Apart from that, there's just not a lot of attacking options, really. So, yeah, our changes would be Mainu and Mount, and that is basically it.
Find the biggest voices in sport on the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Like Tennis Unfiltered with me, James Gray of the iPaper. I'll be joined every day during the Australian Open by fellow tennis journalist George Belshaw and our resident 2-time Grand Slam winning tennis coach Calvin Beckman. Stick with us for daily updates on all the action from Melbourne. That's every tiebreak, tantrum and triumph, so you don't have to stay up all night to watch them. And unlike the Brits, we'll be with you all the way to the final. You won't miss any of the controversy, and we won't pull any punches. Search Tennis Unfiltered wherever you get your podcasts.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
So how do you feel this game will go, Dharnish?
Just touching upon the lack of forward options is kind of really alarming me all of a sudden. So I'm not really going to get any sleep tonight, but I'm just looking at who's out. Diallo, Zerk, and then obviously, and then it's a bunch of defensive injuries after that. But there really just isn't many forward options at all to sort of alter proceedings or change the game in any way, shape, or form. And that's bad to me, because the only reason I think things eventually worked against Lyon was because of the bench. First leg, Onana concedes two goals from 2 errors, but both of the goals come from, the first one's from a set piece. The second one comes because we subbed Joshua Zirkzee on, I think, towards the end of the game, and then he scored the second one. Again, and then you go to the second leg, it's all sort of off the cuff changes that Amrin made, and he chucked Maguire in front just because he had no other option. But yeah, that attack is very alarming, and it's downright infuriating now. That's where I am at this point with the attack. It's just absolutely infuriating that we're at the point where we're saying Mount and Garnacho and Højlund and everybody else who isn't Bruno Fernandes, they get into the right place to take the shots, and they're not putting it in. And I'm tired of just going back and forth and waiting with this attack, because we're towards the end of the season, and there is like almost no surefire goal method for us to score. But there is none. There's like a little blip of set pieces, and that's it. And then you look at the bench, and there's nobody there. Yeah. So it's a big worry, because I feel as though at some point the bench is going to be relied upon, and we're sat here going, oh yeah, hopefully the kids will be all right. Chido Obi is not. He's unavailable to play because of I think the registration debacle. Is that right?
Weird UEFA regulations. I don't think it's United's fault. It's something about youth players can't play for two different clubs.
On this one, no, I can't. I'm not gonna dig into the club at every opportunity that I get. This one is not from the club. I'm not gonna get at them. The only, I think, change that we might see is like Eriksen coming on and Bruno Fernandes moved deeper, and somebody else pushed a little bit more forward randomly. I don't know. It could be Mainu or it could be Fernandes. That's the only way I see this. So. Yeah, you absolutely have to get to Thursday. It sounds the most cliche Roy Keane thing ever. You absolutely have to get to Thursday. Do whatever you can. I don't care. The performance isn't the most important. The result is more than anything. Leave Spain with a result. The same happened with Lyon, and they got through it. And I think it was a brilliant test of character and brilliant test of strength that they went to Lyon, got to 2-1 up. Massive sting in the tail at the end where it was 2-2. Instead of sort of going into the Lyon game back at Old Trafford with like, oh God, it's 2-2. That was the most calm 70 minutes and the best 70 minutes I've seen United play this year. After that, I can't tell you what happened because it was just complete and utter chaos. But the most important thing is go to Thursday and get a result. Don't come back with a loss or anything like that. Even if it's like a 1-1 draw or a 0-0 draw, I would take that.
Yeah. I would be very worried if United have to chase a game in Manchester against Athletic.
Against a side that just doesn't concede many goals.
Yeah, it's very hard to feel super confident about that, and that's not just be me being negative about it. Mm-hmm. I just think they're a very, very well coached side. Valverde's been there a few years now. They all know what they're doing. They don't have loads of strength in depth, so they will miss Sunset. They would very much miss Nico Williams if he wasn't fit. It looks like he will be. Mm. So our bench may well, even with all our injuries, be stronger than theirs. They're very well drilled. They know what they're doing in all phases. We are not there yet. We're still making mistakes, and we're not very well balanced. And so those are the worries. On the plus side, we do have Harrants, and we do have set pieces. Casemiro and Harrants will both be dangerous in those areas. Bruno can pick apart any defence. Of course, his goals and assists, his goal contributions rate is off the fucking charts for the last couple of years, especially in the last 4 months. And that's it. That's not a tactical observation, is it?
What I would say is as well, just on the last it's been 2 out of 3 Premier League losses in a row, right? So what I would say on them as well, they weren't exactly games where they deserve to lose, I don't think. And they're also, it's got to a point where the Europa League is a priority, and so they kind of throw away games. But I would say, from an encouraging standpoint, they're not games that they should have lost or anything. I think Wolves had 2 shots on target and one really big chance. Bournemouth, again, I know they were down to 10, but they were penned in for most of the game. They had 1 shot on target. So I think we're going through this like rhythm and method now where people are like, yeah, but it's still bad. It's still bad. I'm like, yeah, but just take a look at the performances and the context. I'm not trying to shove it under the carpet or anything like that. I don't think the last 3 Premier League games have been as bad as what people have been making out. I think they're just furious in general at the season. There's reasons for why United play the way they do in the last 3 games, but I think just the biggest problem I can see in general it's that attack. It's just so blunt. Even against Bournemouth, last 20 minutes, I think it's very good that Ireland got a goal, by the way. It's very good that they got a point going into Bilbao and didn't have another loss on their ads. They were working the ball in the right way. Get it to the wing back, get it wide, cut it back in. There's 3 or 4 times they cut it back in. I think even it fell to Bruno one time and he just shoved it wide. So I was like, well, they're just not scoring. So it's that attack. It's an attack that needs to score against the team that doesn't concede a lot of goals. I think that's how you win this tie.
Yeah, that's very challenging. And of course, the attack's blunted by 2 significant injuries to Xerxes and Ahmad, and then £200 million of talent being at other clubs. Well done, United. All right, we'll leave it there. It's a big one, and I agree with you. United cannot come back from Spain trailing, because if we have to chase this game, I'd be extremely worried about that. 50,000 at San Mamés is going to be fantastic atmosphere, lovely city. The fans that are going over there will be in great voice, and they'll have a good time and all of that. A real pain to get to Bilbao. I don't know whether you've ever been, but from England, it's going to be a couple of flights or a very long boat trip.
Yes. It's a lovely city, lovely cheesecake.
Flying to Madrid and get the train, I'd say. Yeah, a great part of the world. Yeah. All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you, Dharnish. Thank you, Daniel, who's now left us. And thank you, everyone listening or watching. We'll catch you soon.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Find the biggest voices in sport on the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Like Tennis Unfiltered with me, James Gray of the iPaper. I'll be joined every day during the Australian Open by fellow tennis journalist George Belshaw and our resident 2-time Grand Slam winning tennis coach Calvin Beckman. Stick with us for daily updates on all the action from Melbourne. That's every tiebreak, tantrum and triumph, so you don't have to stay up all night to watch them. And unlike the Brits, we'll be with you all the way to the final. You won't miss any of the controversy, and we won't pull any punches. Search Tennis Unfiltered wherever you get your podcasts.
Sports Social Podcast Network.